need to learn from somebody else.
Yeah.
So it's part of the plan to be with certain people, and you have to learn to see that person, that God is in that person too. You just don't say they're twin ray, but they're God too.
About twin ray,
Twin
twin
ray,
flame,
Okay.
Should we meet twin ray in our life, or is it possible to break up with twin ray? How can I notice my twin ray?
Yeah.
And I wonder if it can only be between men and women. I wonder what I should do if I haven't a twin ray in my life. Yeah.
Very good question. This is also the other most painful experience in my life was regarding my twin ray.
Yeah.
It's natural, because you go through problems in relationship and you think, if I were with my twin ray, it would be perfect. Well, that's not the case. Many twin rays had art, like Godfre Ray King, that wrote Unveiled Mysteries, was with his twin ray, Lotus. They had many arguments. Painful, they disagreed on many things. There was a lot of tension between them because the power is amplified. Also, the other, your twin ray, whoever that is, they may not be as evolved as you are. They may have some real deep problems to work out. You don't know, it's not always the right thing to be with a twin ray. You just know that eventually you'll be together. I think of it like left hand and right hand. What if you're a right-handed person, you just do almost everything with your right hand? Or like you notice little babies, they want to show you they just discovered their hand. Then a couple of days later they discover their other hand. And then they want to show you they can both work together, and they want to show you that. So the twin rays, it's like right hand and left hand. You have to learn to work together, but sometimes you do something with the right hand, sometimes with the left hand. So, but the hands think they're independent, but what have they both discovered? They're all both you. Because they're not separate, they're part of you. So you have to know the person who's your twin ray may not be where you are in their evolution, and it may not be right to be together. And you have to trust that there is a plan for your evolution. Before you were born, as all this was known, and you're living out this plan. And people say, oh, you mean we don't have free will? Well, the free will is that you grow from what, do you learn or not? That's where the free will is, But you have to believe you have free will. Otherwise, you just stay in bed and say, God's plan is going to happen. So it's going to happen through you taking action. But you can ask to be shown. But I find most of the time, especially women, get very diverted from the path, obsessing about the twin ray, thinking that that's my true love. Why should I waste my time with anybody else? And like I say, it could be very painful to be with your twin. So what happened with me, completely unexpectedly, one day in a group, I met this woman, and we got together the next day. I mean, we both immediately felt some connection. And we got together the next day, and we were just sitting across from each other, and this tremendous energy came in. It was just not like anything I'd experienced. We were both raised into a higher consciousness, and but that was during the time I was studying with Pearl, and I'd taken a vow of celibacy, which I felt the masters expected of me. So I was not into being romantic with anybody, and I didn't go on dates or anything like that. But she was quite a bit younger. She had not taken any vows, and she was very social. So I would see her flirting with different guys, and I was so kind of jealous, But I couldn't, I was not relating to her romantically. So there was a lot of tension. there, and I think she was angry at Pearl because most of my attention was going to Pearl as my teacher.
Yeah.
There were just lots of problems continually with her, except one night I made the call to the presence. I am the presence, show me if she is my twin ray. And that night I was taken out of my body. I saw her as a ball of light, and we both merged and see that the twin, the feminine aspect of God is on the inside, is the heart, and the male, more the mental, is on the outside and protecting. So when the twin rays are together, the woman is the heart, and the male is more the mind, is the outside, the protective covering. That's in the highest state. But in the human, again, you're in a body and you have differences and so on. So I was shown that, in fact, in that state, we merged in a higher, and it was just the consciousness of absolute bliss. It was non-physical, just what they call samadhi or something like that. And but she was not shown that. And even to this day, I think she rejects that I am her twin. So, and also then, Saint Germain told me, you are not to be together in this lifetime. And so she separated and she left Mount Shasta, went her own way. Then many years later, we met again as friends, and I thought, well, now it's time to be together. But again, like 3 times, we met at different times, and I thought, now it's time. And then again, something showed me that, you see, she knew about the masters, but she rejected them. I cannot be with somebody who rejects the masters. My whole life is giving the lessons and the teachings of the masters. I could not live with somebody who doesn't want to be around the masters, you know. So I don't have any bad feeling toward her. I send her, sometimes I see her on a higher level out of the body, and we work together in that realm. But I know in the physical plane we are not to be together. And
Physical plane.
so, it's not, don't strive to be with the twin ray. I've heard from some people that they feel they met the twin ray, but the twin is not interested in them, and it causes a lot of pain and suffering. But you are directed. There may be some lesson you need to learn from somebody else. So it's part of the plan to be with certain people, and you have to learn to see that person, that God is in that person too. You just don't say they're twin ray, but they're God too. So I think that's the plan, is you don't have to be with your twin ray to experience God, to see God in everybody, and to love everybody the same. So, see, with Pearl, she knew who her twin flame was, and they were, they had certain experiences together, but again, she was told not to be with him. She was told to marry somebody else who was just like barely friendship level, but they were both committed to the masters, and they worked together in harmony. But Pearl's not very exciting. He was there kind of to protect her and anchor the energy, but there wasn't that chemistry, that joy inside there. And there was also another man that when she got into the I am activity, that she had a romantic relationship, but I think that they knew about each other, that he knew that she had a twin, but eventually she told him, she ended the relationship. She said, the masters are showing I can't be romantic with you anymore. And he was brokenhearted, and he left. In fact, he left the country even, and eventually he married somebody else, and Pearl's twin ray married somebody else, and it was very difficult. Then she was told to marry this man who was just more like a friend, So it can get quite complicated, but again, just know that there's certain lessons you have to learn. And
your book says that you married someone other than you loved because of Saint Germain's guidance, and then you broke up a few years later, but there was no detailed process in the book, and I want to ask, how was the process of the breakup, and what kind of mind should I have for spiritual growth and self-acceptance in a relationship with a lover?
I think I just kind of talked about this.
I think
just only love. I think so.
If you say, I am the great divine director of my relationships, and especially, it's not so much, like when I'm 80 now, but when I'm younger, there's always an attraction to beauty, and say, I am, keep anyone I'm not meant to be with away from me romantically, and if I'm meant to be with someone, bring them to me and show me, give me some confirmation that that's right,
Okay.
But I say I am invincibly protected from attracting anybody or being attracted to someone that's not right for me to be with.
Yes.
Yeah.
And show me clearly that is,
Yeah.
So, that's very important, because that takes you off the path faster than anything.
Yes.
Is to get into a complicated relationship,
Yeah.
or even to feel an attraction for somebody that you can't be with, Again, see that person as an aspect of God or goddess, and say, they are showing me an aspect of God, but I don't have to possess it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Okay. And she also asked, I'm so sorry to ask you, the process of the divorce. Could you answer? Yeah. How was your experience? You also divorced, right?
Yeah, I have been divorced, and it's got to be different for each person. But there was no fighting or arguments or anything. Just there's a recognition. You say, "Look, we need to talk.
Yeah.
This is not working." And I feel that let's try living apart for a while or something. See how it goes like that, and then how do you feel about it? That kind of thing. And the honesty is so important to say, this is what I'm feeling. What are you feeling?
Yes.
And to listen. There was a woman in Mount Shasta many years ago. Her name was Andreleria. She used to do these things with couples. She called them Zen raps. She'd do it on a Saturday morning. Couple would sit across from each other, and the question one person would say is, what is there that you would like to tell me that you've never told me, that you want to tell me, but you've been afraid to tell me? And that person cannot talk then for half an hour. They have to just listen. So then the person says, well, I've always wanted to tell you this, that, that bothers me, that, you don't wash your dishes, you leave them sitting in the sink, and it really bothers me. And it could be something simple like that, it could be something else. And then when that comes to an end, then the other person gets to talk and say, oh, I had no idea, it's something with this, or how they feel about it. Then the other person has to listen, they can't talk. So there's a back and forth where it's actually a process called active listening.
Yeah.
Where you actually have to, listen to the person, no arguing, you have to keep quiet.
Yeah.
Then you actually tell the person, what I think you said is this, is that right? Because sometimes people don't hear right. They react so quickly.
Yeah.
And they say, no, that's not what I said.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you again, this is it. And until the other person understands, so you repeat back, what I heard you say is this.
That's important.
Yeah, is that right? sure, the communication is there, you know.
Yeah.
And then you have to say, look, it is what it is. This is where we are. We could maybe go to counseling. We could, you know, talk to a friend, or maybe we can work it out ourselves.
Yeah.
And meditation.
Meditation, or maybe it's just like I feel my destiny calling me to do something else in my life, you know. And I'm sorry if this hurts you, but this is like I feel inner guidance calling me to this, you know.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's really helpful advice to give her. Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Very specific. Yeah.